In a dark apartment, someone won't stop knocking. Hannah, not in the mood for visitors, grabs her gun and waits. Suddenly, a monster busts through the door. She shoots it without blinking. More monsters pile in, and she takes them down with perfect aim, like she's in an action movie. Even when a whole squad of beasts charges in, she just reloads and keeps blasting. Hannah is a pro gamer and game tester, which means she gets paid, sometimes, to play all day. It's the perfect job for her, because she has agoraphobia. She's terrified of leaving her home. That's why her door has more locks than a bank vault, including a fancy electronic one with a password. After a long day of testing virtual reality horror, she relaxes the only way she knows how, playing Tetris on her ancient Game Boy. Later, the mailman arrives with a package, but Hannah has rules. Leave it by the door and hide, she tells him. The mailman, confused but cooperative, obeys. Hannah cracks the door open just enough to sign the device when, surprise, a little girl appears out of nowhere. "Why are you scared?" the girl asks. Hannah, not loving this random hallway child situation, refuses to let her in. The mailman, now impatient from the stairs, yells, "Can you just sign already?" Hannah quickly grabs her package. Hannah slams the door shut and locks it faster than a ninja, then has a full-blown meltdown. Once she's feeling human again, she calls her friend Jen to brag about getting early access to a fancy new gaming controller and invites her over. Since going outside is a no-go, Hannah works out while waiting. When Jen arrives, she knows the drill, no knocking. She texts instead, and Hannah unlocks the door before quickly hiding. Jen sneaks in, shuts the door, and drops off groceries like a pro. Then, they unbox the controller and find a weird headband called Omnia. No instructions, of course. Hannah presses a button, and boom, the thing connects to her computer by itself. A robotic voice welcomes her and tells her to put on the headband. Turns out, Omnia can read her mind. Literally. It shows her brain activity on screen and claims it can control anything, even video games, with zero reaction time. But first, calibration. While Jen preps meals for Hannah, Hannah does the first test, typing. At first, she taps the keyboard like a normal person, but soon, Omnia figures out her brain patterns. Now, she can type just by thinking, and that's where things go off the rails. Hannah gets way too into it. She's so obsessed that she forgets to eat. Jen's delicious meals? Ignored. Just as Hannah is deep into her work, the landlord knocks, demanding rent. Jen shoos him away since Hannah doesn't even notice. Then Jen says she has to leave, which finally gets Hannah off her chair. But the exercise on the screen keeps filling itself and like a ghost is taking the test for her. When the computer switches to the next exercise, the power flickers off and on. Spooky, but Hannah shrugs and gets back to calibrating the device. Now it wants her to use the mouse. For hours, she obediently follows instructions, testing headphones, a microphone, and who knows what else. Every time she gets sleepy, she chugs energy drinks like a college student cramming for finals. The AI, being annoyingly responsible, warns her that her reaction time is tanking and tells her to sleep. Hannah listens for once and dozes off. But the device keeps scanning her brain, and the speakers start blasting creepy static noises. In her dreams, she sees a child's hand and a bird in a cage. She wakes up horrified to find her gums bleeding. Cool. Totally normal. As she's freaking out in front of the mirror, the little girl from yesterday knocks on the door, wanting to play. Hannah, still in horror mode, tells her she can't and instead shares childhood stories about how she was stuck inside all the time. That's why she got addicted to video games, especially Tetris. She even offers to lend the game to the kid, but no response. She's just gone. Weird. Feeling nostalgic, Hannah digs through an old box of childhood stuff and finds a ball that reminds her of playing in the rain with her dad. Cue the tears. When Jen visits again, they use the ball for the next calibration exercise, which apparently tests reflexes. Jen, however, gets bored, chucks the ball on the bed, and changes the subject to music, prompting the device to start playing random songs. At this point, Hannah is pretty sure the AI has a mind of its own. Hannah and Jen have a blast dancing, but the fun ends when the next exercise demands pain. Jen nopes out, leaving Hannah to handle it herself. Using a tool, she makes a tiny cut, just enough to complete the calibration. The AI reassures her that the device will keep improving the more she uses it. After patching herself up and finally eating, yay food, Hannah stocks up on energy drinks and jumps back into gaming. Soon, she stops using her hands entirely, controlling everything with her mind. As promised, her reaction time is god tier, and she destroys every match. Meanwhile, in her room, something creepy is going on. The bedsheets shift, and a mysterious hand grabs a ball. Hannah hears a noise, checks it out, nothing. Shrugging it off, she keeps playing for hours and decides to enter a tournament under a cool nickname. Right then, the ball rolls across the floor behind her. Just as she's about to grab it, knock, knock. It's the landlord, once again asking for rent. Hannah goes to beg for more time, but as she talks, the ball floats up and glitches out of existence. The landlord insists Jen promised the money days ago, but Hannah could have sworn it was just yesterday. Oops, she's totally lost track of time. She promises to pay next week and asks about a girl in the building, but the landlord is already gone. When she returns, the ball is missing. Again. Later, while Hannah exercises, a creepy ghost appears behind her, and she doesn't even notice. When she showers, her mouth suddenly bleeds like crazy, and her reflection turns monstrous. But nope, just a nightmare. Trying to shake it off, she spots the ball again, back in the living room. As she stares, the ghost reappears behind her, still unnoticed. Freaked out, she mind activates her phone, because, of course, she doesn't need hands anymore, and calls Jen, apologizing for being a jerk and begging her to come over. Hannah puts on her VR set and waves her hand over a virtual ball. Poof. It disappears. She waves again, bam. It's back. One more wave. It turns into a bird. She picks it up, watches it fly around, and then it lands, turning back into a ball. Magic? Nope, just VR. When Jen finally arrives, Hannah is busy supercharging her computer so it can handle her insane gaming speed. She's got a tournament to win. $250,000 is on the line. She's so confident that she convinces Jen to bet money on her. Easy cash. 6 hours later, the tournament starts, and Hannah wipes the floor with every opponent like it's nothing. Jen, meanwhile, is raking in cash like a pro gambler. But just when things are looking perfect, something weird pops up on Hannah's screen. She leans in, and a hand reaches out to grab her. Hannah jumps back, but when Jen looks, there's nothing there. Jen thinks Hannah's just seeing things, but Hannah's freaked out. She hands Jen the controller and takes a break. In the bathroom, she pops some meds to calm down and checks under her Band-Aid. What was a tiny cut is now a gross-looking wound. Great, just what she needed. Hannah starts crying, and Jen tries to cheer her up, telling her she still made it to the next round. She also reminds Hannah she's always got her back. Hannah just nods, still shaken. After some chill time, playing old-school video games, Hannah shares a story about a little girl. Jen is confused. There aren't any kids in their building. Then Hannah drops a confession. Her mom was agoraphobic too, so maybe the whole struggling to go outside thing was in her DNA. Jen processes this info, then shrugs. Okay, but more importantly, are we betting on the next match or what? Hannah feels bad for turning into her mom, and Jen offers to help her leave, but Hannah's like, nah, I'll stay. After Jen falls asleep, Hannah distracts herself with Tetris, completely ignoring the fact that her apartment is literally breaking apart into floating cubes. The next morning, Jen notices Hannah looks like a zombie. Hannah's not even sure if she slept or just blacked out. After Jen leaves for work, Hannah hears voices outside. Turns out, there's a little girl lurking by her door. Being polite, Hannah offers to lend her a game, but when she turns back, her front door is mysteriously open. Hannah steps into the hallway, hears giggling, and, oh no, the door slams shut behind her. Panicking, she fumbles with her keys but forgets about the security chain. And that's when the lights flicker and the ghost shows up, shrieking like it's auditioning for a horror movie. Hannah freaks out, bangs on the door like a maniac, and finally bursts inside, locking it before having a full-on meltdown. Once she stops hyperventilating, she calls Omnia, the company behind her gaming device, to ask if other testers have been haunted lately. They offer a repair, but Hannah refuses. She needs to win the tournament. So, she keeps playing, makes it to the top 3, and is so exhausted she falls asleep mid-game, dropping her controller. Suddenly, her computer shuts off, and her apartment goes completely dark. When she wakes up, her room is empty. Bad sign. She turns around. BM. Creepy little girl is right there, casually dropping, "We've always been here." Q ghost showing up again, screaming loud enough to shake the whole room. Hannah covers her ears, starts levitating, because why not? Then gets unceremoniously dropped like a glitchy game character. At this point, she really needs a refund. Hannah blinks, and suddenly the computer is back on, but both the girl and the ghost are gone. Weird. Before she can think too much about it, Jen shows up just in time to watch Hannah win the tournament like a total champ. Hannah is exhausted, so she hugs Jen, celebrates a little, then immediately falls asleep in her chair. She dreams of a bloody screwdriver. Yikes, and wakes up confused. Was that real? She calls out for Jen, no answer. But hey, the tournament screen confirms she actually won. Before she can enjoy that, she hears her shower running. Rushing to the bathroom, she finds absolutely nothing. Spooky. Hannah shuts off the shower, only to get an itchy arm again. While scratching, she tries calling Jen, but Jen's phone is ringing inside her apartment. Even her laptop is sitting there next to a package Hannah definitely did not bring in. Before she can question reality any further, her computer proudly announces that her prize money has been sent. At least something is going well. She asks the AI if it's messing with her. The AI, probably shrugging in robot fashion, tells her it only does what her brain wants. Great. That's reassuring. Looking through pictures of her dad, Hannah spots the ghost chilling by the door until someone knocks. The ghost poofs away. It's just the landlord confirming he got the payment. Hannah asks about Jen, but nope, he hasn't seen her. Deciding to eat the meal Jen left for her, Hannah takes one bite and immediately spits it out. It's disgusting. Upon closer inspection, it's full of bugs. With nothing else to do, she stares at the computer for hours while the ghost lurks behind her, disappearing every time she moves. Also, her arm? The wound has now become a full-on gross situation. Snapping out of it, Hannah distracts herself by bouncing a ball while reminiscing about her mom. She wasn't allowed outside much last year, but spending time with her mom had been nice. Later, a new package arrives. Hannah grabs it without signing because, at this point, why bother? Inside, she finds her tournament trophy. Then she finally notices the other package, sitting on the table with a card from Jen that says, "For when you're ready." Inside, a brand new pair of shoes. Hannah stares at them. Maybe reality is completely falling apart. Hannah puts on the device, and immediately weird stuff starts happening. Jen's phone rings, but it's an unknown number, creepy. Then the speakers start blasting static and spooky whispers that get louder and louder until they're downright painful. Suddenly, bam, Jen appears behind her. Hannah, overwhelmed with joy, rushes to hug her, remembering their celebration. But wait, why is Jen wet? And why is Hannah holding a bloodstained screwdriver? Oh no, Jen has a stab wound. Panicked, Hannah grabs a phone to call for help, but when she looks back, Jen is gone. Now feeling officially insane, Hannah falls to her knees and screams, which somehow makes a ghost and a little girl pop up for a split second. That's when Hannah realizes this cursed device is messing with her mind. She tries to take it off, but plot twist, it's still on her head. Every time she grabs at it, it's just an illusion. Deciding she's had enough of this nonsense, she runs to her room to pack and escape, totally missing the other creepy presence lurking nearby. Just as she gathers her courage, a hand yanks her jacket. She whirls around and sees a glitchy body getting dragged into the bathroom. Naturally, she follows bad horror movie move, Hannah. Inside, she finds Jen's rotting body in the tub. Goals. Horrified, she pokes it, because apparently, that's the thing to do, and immediately has a breakdown. The room shifts, revealing the truth. The apartment is a total disaster. Trash, dirty dishes, rotten food. She's been living in denial for weeks. Now officially freaked out, she bolts out of the apartment, racing down the stairs before her phobia can kick in and turn her into a statue. She makes it to Jen's apartment, flicks on the light, and plot twist number 2, she's back in her own place. Then, she sees a vision of herself stabbing Jen. And to make things even worse, her double turns around, grins, and says, "Welcome to the Omnia," in the AI's voice before morphing into a horrifying monster. Hannah is so done. Hannah sprints out of her apartment, screaming, as a creepy monster chases her. Worse, with every step, another one joins the party. It's like a really bad conga line of doom. She makes it to the roof, but instead of running, she stops. The rain hits her skin for the first time in years, bringing back good memories. Feeling oddly peaceful, she turns to the monsters and just jumps. As she falls, she spots a glitchy bird flying by, because why not? Then bam, she hits the ground. Except plot twist, she's suddenly back in her apartment, where a ghost is waiting for her. Turns out it's her mom. Hannah, understandably freaked out, begs her to let her leave and demands to know why she killed Jen. Before Ghost Mom can answer, there's a knock at the door, and poof, she's gone. The police are outside, but Hannah is having a major meltdown. The cops and paramedics bust in and find Jen's body. But Hannah? She couldn't care less. She's just sitting there playing Tetris on her Game Boy like it's no big deal. When they finally arrest her, they take away her Game Boy. Instead of crying, she just laughs. But the second they try to drag her out, she completely loses it, screaming, shaking the whole apartment, and knocking the cops over as the door slams shut behind her.